Welcome to another video, and in this video I'll be breaking down whether you should start with selling laptops or desktops. I've been getting this question a lot, and in this video it's going to save you a lot of time if you're a beginner on where you should start with, right? So at the beginning, one of the most important things you need to realize is where you start and what you start selling, because you don't want to be buying product that you're going to be sitting on. I want you guys to make money right away, and I want you guys to turn your cash so you could literally reinvest into the next thing. So the number one thing with desktops versus laptops is demand. So at the beginning, what I realized is laptops are not niche. They sell year round. They literally sell every single day, non-stop, all the time, because everybody needs a laptop. And the things with laptop is they appeal to students, they appeal to remote work, they appeal to workforce, because it's just something on the go. And there's a lot more laptops than the desktops selling currently, right? So I understood that, and I said, okay, I would rather get a small piece of the watermelon than trying to get a lot more of the grape, right? So, and not to say there's not demand for desktops, it's just the laptop market is just way more. And at the beginning, it is super critical to put your money somewhere that it's going to make a return. So with laptops, the demand is far higher, right? And desktops are a little bit more niche, because whoever is buying a desktop for their home specifically, they're looking at it for something very specific, right? And if they don't get that very specific thing from this desktop, they're more than likely not going to buy it, right? And with a laptop, everybody needs a laptop, from the kid to the students to the mother to the father. Everybody needs a laptop, right? So the demand is year round, and it does not slow down. The thing I realized about this industry, I was like, when is it going to be slow season? We actually don't have slow season. We all year round, people need laptops. All year round, people are literally buying laptops nonstop, right? And the second point is profit margin. So let's dig into the profit margin. So with a laptop, yes, you will make a little bit less profit margin than a desktop, because the desktop is a lot more, right? So you're selling a desktop for 300, 400, the nicer ones, right? And you might be able to profit 150. You might be able to profit 175 compared to a laptop you're selling for $100. You might be able to profit, $60, $40, or a $200 laptop, you might be able to profit $80. So the profit is less, but here's what you're doing. I would rather sell a lot more laptops than sell a little bit of desktop and have a lot of money invested into the desktops, right? So for me, I look at it as, where does my money go and what avenue is going to return it far quicker? And it's specifically in the laptops. At the beginning, I always recommend people to start with Chromebooks, because the thing about Chromebooks that a lot of people don't realize, they're like, oh, who's buying Chromebooks? I was asking myself that question. Who's out here really buying Chromebooks? You would be surprised how many parents buy Chromebooks for their young kids, just a laptop to just mess around, because there's not high expectation from a Chromebook, right? Compared to if they buy a i7 laptop, right? They have this high expectation. They want it to process fast. They want high memory. They want all these things. But a Chromebook, this is a Chromebook. And till this day, one of my most profitable laptops, till this day, I'm going to literally tell you guys at the end of this video, is a Chromebook. And I'm going to tell you the specific Chromebook if you stay till the end of this video. And I realized, I said, the moment I discovered that, I said, oh my gosh, this is a whole nother lane that literally nobody's tapping into and nobody's talking about, because people overlook Chromebooks. Yes, you sell it for way cheaper, but the volume that comes with Chromebooks, it is very heavy. The next thing, with desktops, shipping is going to cost you a lot more. And it's a higher chance of you actually damaging the desktop if it's not properly wrapped or properly put together and you don't have the right cushioning. And it's very hard to find like that stuff for desktops. With a laptop, you could just literally wrap it with bubbles. But if you do that with desktop, let's say someone just drops it the wrong way, or it falls, or something damages, the thing you need to realize about customers, they only see the desktop or computer when they get it. They didn't know what condition you sent it in. So if you sent it in perfect condition and when they received it, it wasn't in perfect condition, they're not blaming FedEx. They're not blaming USPS. You're going to take the blame, right? And at the beginning, I'm trying to mitigate you guys' risk. So I would highly encourage you guys start with laptops, and highly encourage you guys start putting your money into laptops at the beginning rather than desktops, right? So that's the thing that I recommend. And the thing with desktops too, it's a lot more work. You might need to be putting Wi-Fi cards in, you might need to be setting it up a certain way, there's a certain way to install Windows on. It's a lot more work that it takes, and the experience from you selling a lot of laptops is eventually going to allow you to transition. So the beginning, all beginners, I do not recommend them to start selling desktops right away, as it is way more difficult, right? So right now we're going to go into the warehouse, and I'm going to show you guys some desktops and the different categories and stuff like that. And the Chromebook that literally made me the most profit, I'm going to show you right now, and it's a Dell 3100 2-in-1. Till this day, that is the most profitable Chromebook I've sold, and it has made me a lot of money, and I think you guys should look at it. So let's go ahead and go into the warehouse right now. All right, guys, welcome. So we're currently at the warehouse right now. And the next part I kind of want to get into is the scalability potential. So when you start with desktops, and I'll be breaking down the different tiers, right, and where you guys should start. When I was first getting into it, I just specifically focused on Chromebooks. And the thing about Chromebooks, I always say this, is low barrier to entry, and you understand everything you need to know about this industry just by these Chromebooks. So when I bought my first batch of Chromebooks and I tested them all myself, I learned everything from how to power wash it. I learned everything from how to set it up properly. I learned everything from what was wrong with it. I learned everything from between, sometimes you might get them enrolled, sometimes you might get them device enrolled with companies, with schools and stuff like that, and you might not be able to do anything with it. So I had to understand all of that, and without that initial understanding, it would have been really hard just to get into desktops and understanding different capabilities that desktops have, as it is a lot more moving parts, and sometimes a Wi-Fi card might be missing on this, right? And you have to install a Wi-Fi card. That's a whole nother step that essentially starting with the Chromebooks is going to help you a lot, right? So I recommend everybody to start with the Chromebooks. And nowadays, Chromebooks have advanced so much. This specific Chromebook right here, it's a 2-in-1, right? It's touchscreen. It goes back. You can use it as like an iPad. It's literally very functional. And these sell for about $90, right? And the price on it is, you can get these for a really great rate and sell it for about $90 and make a lot of profit. So Chromebooks is essentially what I recommend any beginner to start with, just from the scalability, learning, the testing, everything you need to know about this industry, a Chromebook is going to teach you. And you're going to learn all from your first batch of Chromebooks that you're working with. And I don't want you guys at the beginning to get stuck, right? So what I see a lot of people happen at the beginning is there's this initial stage of just searching for the right product to buy, searching, and you're indulging in so much information that you're not taking action. I want you guys to actually be investing time into taking action of going to local electronic shops, trying to just buy your first computer. Just literally start with one. That's all it takes. You don't need to have hundreds or thousands. It starts with one. Trust me, the first laptop you repair and fix and sell for a profit, it is addicting. You are going to get addicted. You're literally, the motivation that's going to bring along is going to be insane. That's why I always tell everybody, just buy your first one. Just go buy, fix, flip your first one. Do not worry about hundreds. Do not worry about thousands right now. Start with your first one. And I recommend everybody to start with Chromebooks, just because you have every capability that you need, and you could do all of it yourself, right? And you don't need a big, you don't need a big facility. You don't need all these big fancy things that we have to use right now. You can literally do this all from your garage. So I always recommend starting with the Chromebook. Now, the second best thing that is honestly like contributes a huge amount to our success right now is Dell, right? So Dell Latitudes have been a huge contribution to our revenue, right? Majority of our revenue comes from this brand, Dell. We love Dell. Like I can't say enough great things about Dell, from the reliability to the support to how long it lasts to like everything about Dell. I love Dell. Like, if Dell sponsor the next video, because all I say is great things about Dell. And we make so much profit from selling a lot of Dells. So your next step after you start with the Chromebooks is going into Latitudes. So Latitudes range in many different ways. You have, different Latitudes from the 7400s, 7500s, all the way to the XPSs, to there's so many, right? So many different Dell brands that you could be selling, and so many of them. That's one thing I love about Dell, is how reliable they are. And the thing is, the customer already knows the Dell experience, right? So it's super easy for you to sell because they're already investing all this money into marketing and everything like that. So I really recommend Dell. And the cool thing about Dell is there's certain ways to work on these. They're not as complicated as HP. Mind you, HP, it is a lot harder to sell as getting ungated on Amazon and stuff like that, just because they sell a lot faster. But I really recommend you guys to start with the Dells, also the Latitudes, as your next step after Chromebooks. Now, I forgot to mention one thing about Chromebooks. Chromebooks, you could literally essentially sell any Chromebook. It does not matter. 300E, 3100, G4, G5, G6, G7, any Chromebook that you get your hands on, work on it. Because essentially their whole operating system is the same. And once you understand one of them, you're going to understand all of them. So it's not really going to cause you much of a headache, and you are actually going to be doing well in it. So shifting over to the desktop. So this is a desktop. This one here is a 3060 Octaplex. So this thing here is an i5 8th gen. This thing's a beast, right? And a lot of companies and corporations are still using bigger desktops, right? And the reason why is, it's not as mobile. It's not as, like you can't move it around as much. So it's stationary. That's one thing about desktops. And a lot of companies now are actually getting into the desktop minis. So this right here is a desktop mini. So this is like essentially like, think about this big desktop if it just got shrunk into this smaller one. Now, we got into reselling desktop minis maybe about 2 years ago, and we were still selling these, but these just were not selling as fast. These things right here, if you have access to desktop minis, these things do not stay on the shelf. They fly off the shelf. See, this one right here is a i7 8th gen. This thing, I think we get maybe like 700 or 800 of these a month, and they're always gone. They're always selling out. They're like in and out. Like these things, people love them. Companies are buying them because you could put a lot of them in like a small space, right? So imagine you have, a lot of cubicles or a lot of employees that's working there, and you want to have like 20 of these in just this little area. You can do that, right? So that's the cool thing about these. It's essentially this big one squeezed into a smaller one. So in terms of you buying, I would recommend first getting into the Latitudes, getting into the Chromebooks, figuring that game out before you step into this one. And if you step into here, there's a lot more knowledge that goes into it, and I'll start making more videos on these. But these ones here, you got to understand it's going to take time, right? The learning curve is a little bit higher rather than compared to a laptop. You can learn things very fast. You can learn things on the go, and it's easier, right? And it's a safer bet. You're going to make your money back much faster. Desktops, a little bit slower sale, right? Profits are higher though, for sure. Profits are higher, and you need a little bit time to start learning, a little bit more time to start understanding how they operate. What are the different components in them? How are people using them? Start understanding the market. What are people buying them for? How often are they buying? What's the most popular one? How much could I get it for? And the thing about these ones is much harder to get a great deal on them just because they're usually not as damaged as a laptop. So like, let's say you buy like a batch of 300 of these, maybe like 20 or 30 of them are going to have broken screens, broken hinges, broken things like that. And the seller usually knows that, so they're able to, finagle the price a little bit and give you a little bit of a better deal. But with these is you don't get as much of a great deal on them. The price in the market is all structured. So everybody knows what these are selling for. Everybody in the industry knows how much they move for or how often they move for. So if you find a great deal on them, always take them. But these prices are pretty standard and they're always staying the same. And you always still do make profit once you buy wholesale, fix it up, add few value to it, and then retail it. So yeah, for the verdict, what we're going to wrap, the final verdict, I would say in this video is your steps to get into the industry is start off with Chromebooks, understand how they all operate. And even though you might not start selling them right away, just at least learn, right? I want you guys to start understanding the whole entire industry. I want you to start understanding every component, because as you scale and as you start selling a lot of units and as you start making a lot more money, you need to know every aspect of the business, right? You don't want to be in this business and you don't know how to power wash a computer, right? You don't want to be in this industry and you don't know how to reset a computer. Like, these are things that I don't want you guys to fall vulnerable to as you scale and as you start selling a lot more. And the second part is take action. Literally, let's start getting you guys your first computer as soon as possible, and I'll start making money from this. So guys, if you guys need more help on this industry and you want to learn a lot more, there's going to be a link in the description that you could go ahead and click on and book a call with our team. See if we're a great fit to be able to help you guys, right? We have a partner program that's currently out. So if you're a great fit, go ahead and check that out below. And guys, I appreciate you guys for showing support. I appreciate you guys for showing, any value that you guys got. Just make sure you drop it in the comments. I'll keep dropping more videos for you guys every single week. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on that post notification bell as I drop every single week. With that being said, my name is Abdi Hassan. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video.